What is up, Dynasty Leaguers? Welcome into the third video of the 12-part rookie mock draft series that I'm putting together. If you've missed the first two on the 101 and the 102, that is Najee Harris and Travis Etienne. I invite you to go back and check those ones out as well too. It might make more sense as we dive into some of the other stuff for this player at the 1.03. And I said at the end of Travis Etienne's video at 102 that I might get a little bit of flack for this player that I am going to pick right now as my 1.03 because it is probably not who you are thinking of. It is actually another running back. That's just how I like to build my dynasty rosters. I like to take those workhorse running backs ahead of the wide receivers, even though we've seen trends over the past couple of years with rookie wide receivers doing a lot better than in previous years, especially with last year with CeeDee Lamb, Justin Jefferson, T. Higgins, guys like that, and the year prior as well too. But to me, it's always going to be a workhorse running back. And in my opinion, there are only really three true workhorse running backs in this class. I already talked about Najee Harris. I already talked about Travis Etienne. And this next player might be my favorite player in this entire 2021 NFL draft class. And that is North Carolina running back Javonte Williams. Let's get into it. So Javonte Williams is the current 1.06 in February ADP, so I'm taking him considerably higher than most other people. He is my RB3, and that's where he's being drafted as in February DLF rookie ADP. But at that 1.06, he will in most cases find himself behind guys like Jamar Chase, Devonta Smith, maybe even in some drafts behind Jalen Waddle, Rashad Bateman. In ADP, he's actually also being taken behind Kyle Pitts, tight end 1. So that is just kind of where Javonte Williams will and probably find himself post-draft, or if you're doing any drafts, pre-draft as well too. That is kind of the range for Javonte Williams. Even though he has a pretty wide range in ADP, he was taken anywhere from the 1.04 all the way down to the 110. But most of those are in that 5, 6, 7 range as well too. Once those top two running backs, top two wide receivers go, it's kind of, you know, free range for Javonte Williams in there. But I would take him as high as 1.03, and I'll explain why in this video. He is, for me, in his own tier. He's in a second tier of running back. First tier consisting of Harris and Etienne, and then it's Javonte Williams, and then there's a big gap, and then it's a lot of the other guys, including Williams's teammate Michael Carter as well too, and some other running backs, and we'll only get to one other running back in this series in the first round. That's kind of where I see these tiers for running backs, is there's only really 3 top ones, and then the rest are just kind of all the way down there. We'll get to one more in this first round series. But looking at Javonte Williams in his stats collegiately, freshman year, North Carolina, 2018, he comes in, he's actually the RB4 in rush attempts behind Antonio Williams, Michael Carter, and Jordan Brown as well too. Not much going on there. 43 attempts, 224 yards, and 5 touchdowns, 8 receptions and 58 yards through the air as well too. So just a modest freshman season. A lot of other players ahead of him, not really all too worried about that, especially whenever you look at his sophomore season that was markedly improved as well too, without Williams and Antonio Williams and Jordan Brown. So in 2019, sophomore year, it was actually a 50-50 split with Michael Carter as well too. Carter had 177 attempts for 1,003 yards and 3 touchdowns to Javonte Williams's 166 attempts for 933 yards and 5 touchdowns. And both also were pretty similar through the air as well too. Williams had 17 receptions, 176 yards, and a touchdown. So already we can see that it's going to be a committee from sophomore year between Carter and Javonte Williams. And I don't really think that that is a slight to Javonte. I think that's actually how good Michael Carter is as well too, is that he was able to come in and basically challenge Javonte Williams, who I believe is the better running back today. But 2 years ago, that still remained to be seen as to who was the better running back. Finally, 2020 junior year, again, another 50-50 split between Michael Carter and Javonte Williams, this time somewhat in Javonte Williams' favor. He had 157 rush attempts, 1,140 yards, and 19 rushing touchdowns compared to Michael Carter's 156 rush attempts, 1,245 yards, and 9 rushing touchdowns. What we really like to see, though, is Javonte Williams had 25 receptions, 305 yards, and 3 touchdowns. And Carter, just to stay on pace, 25 receptions, 267 yards, and 2 touchdowns. So, again, this is like a complete 50-50 backfield split going on right now. And a lot of people are going to knock Javonte Williams for that 50-50 split. I've already seen some negative feedback for Javonte Williams in terms of his profile because he never really was able to differentiate himself in his own backfield. There was always somebody else there, Michael Carter, and he wasn't able to showcase that he has that 250 plus workhorse capability on top of having more receptions. And again, I think that isn't really a slight to Javonte. That's as much of a compliment to Michael Carter. I don't knock Javonte Williams for it. We've seen a ton of running backs come into the NFL where they have other teammates as well too. Georgia is like well known for this. DeAndre Swift, Todd Gurley, a bunch of these guys came into the NFL and they weren't really utilized to their full potential. Nick Chubb as well too is another one that they just were not used in college as much as they could have been, or to some people's extent should have been, but that didn't prohibit them in the NFL to be able to produce at an elite level. We've seen it as well too, like Alvin Kamara. I'm not comparing Javonte Williams to Alvin Kamara, but Kamara is just another example who was traveling between Alabama and Tennessee, didn't get a whole lot of workload at either place as well too. So we've seen examples of running backs coming into the NFL from college that came out of a committee backfield in the NCAA. So I'm not really worried about Javonte Williams in that sense, especially whenever you look at the rest of his complete profile, especially analytically, that Javonte Williams really stands out and makes his own case as his own player and the RB3 in this class. So speaking of analytics, Javonte Williams did some crazy things according to Pro Football Focus in the 2020 season. First of all, he had a 95.9 rushing grade in 2020. That's out of 100. 95.9 rushing grade in 2020. That is actually a PFF college football record since they've been tracking running back rushing grades. He also broke 0.48 tackles per attempt in 2020. Another Pro Football Focus college record. That is absolutely insane. 4.59 yards after contact per attempt, 27 runs over 15 yards, which was second in the college football season in 2020 behind Michael Carter, who had 29 as well too. So all of this stuff that Pro Football Focus is able to put out and chart from Javonte Williams showcases that Javonte is an amazing athlete. He's like a bowling ball. He just runs over everybody, forces missed tackles. He's shifty. He can do a lot. Like, I shout out to Ray GQ. He talks about making people miss in a telephone booth. Like, that's Javonte Williams. He's going to make you miss. He breaks tackles. He's breaking long runs. He's a phenomenal runner. And that is overall, a lot of the reasons why he is my favorite player in this 2021 draft class. Mike Clay and JJ Zachariason also have made note of Javonte Williams' skill. Mike Clay saying Javonte Williams has the best 2024 missed tackles and yards after contact profile among this year's rookie running back class. And he's also one of the youngest running backs in this class. JJ Zachariason, on top of that Mike Clay tweet, posted that Draft Capital may change this, but according to his running back model, after he inputted everything, it spit out Williams as the pre-draft running back one in his model. And that is the same model that really liked Kareem Hunt and Aaron Jones as well too. There's a lot to like about Javonte Williams and his profile. He is catching a lot of attention from a lot of big name players as well in the fantasy community, and I really think that you guys need to be paying more attention to Javonte Williams, and that is why I have him at the 1.03. So looking at my own analysis, we've talked about these markers in the past two videos for Harris and ETN, the running back markers that I am looking for. Again, there are 8 of these between weight, BMI, 40-yard dash, speed score, draft capital, reception season, yards per carry, and freshman or sophomore yards from scrimmage production. Those are the 8 markers that I'm looking for from running backs. They need to meet a certain threshold. And this is, again, a very exclusive class to be a part of. If you get all 8 of these, you are in a very elite class that only a few since 2005 have been able to muster guys like Jonathan Taylor, DeAndre Swift, Ezekiel Elliott, D'Angelo Williams, Todd Gurley, Marshawn Lynch. That's a lot of good company to be a part of. And so when you look at Javonte Williams' profile, we already looked at Travis Etienne and Najee Harris. Harris had 3 markers already hit. Etienne had 4. Javonte Williams, as of this moment, is 5 for 5 in terms of the markers that can be hit as of right now. He hits on BMI, which I'm looking for a plus 30 BMI. He hits on weight. I'm looking for plus 200. He's at 220. So he's a beast of a player. He hit on best reception season. I'm looking for one single reception season at or above 25 receptions. He hit that in 2020 with 25 on the dot. I'm looking for at least 1,000 yards from scrimmage in either their freshman or sophomore year. He hit that in 2019 in his sophomore year with just over 1,100 yards and a career yards per carry over 6. He's got 6.28. So he is a straight 5 for 5 in terms of these markers that I'm looking for. The ones that we are missing right now are 40-yard dash and speed score, which correlate to each other. We don't have 40-yard dash yet just because there's no NFL Combine. We're waiting for his pro day. But in order for him to hit on the 40-yard dash marker, he needs to run a sub 4.6. And for his speed score, I'm looking for a plus 100 speed score. I did the math at Javonte Williams' 220-pound weight. He would need to run a sub 4.58. So essentially, if he runs a sub 4.6, and it's actually sub 4.58, then he's going to hit on both of those markers as well too. And speed isn't really what Javonte Williams is known for. He's not a burner like Travis Etienne. He is 220 pounds. So moving at a 4.5 speed would definitely be a huge plus for him just at his given weight. That would be a really solid speed for him and definitely something that he could translate into the NFL with that type of speed. That's probably about where I would expect him to run in a low 4.5 kind of range, which then he would hit on both 40-yard dash and speed score. The final one that he would need to hit on would be draft capital. I'm looking for first or second round draft capital. Don't expect him to hit first round. That's pretty exclusive to me for this class to Najee Harris. If one is even taken in this class, I mean, we could have a surprise Clyde Edwards-Helaire situation again from last year, but I don't really expect that. I expect Javonte Williams to be more of a second round draft capital type of guy with Travis Etienne. We saw that a bunch last year. Guys like DeAndre Swift, Jonathan Taylor, Cam Akers, J.K. Dobbins, all taken in the second round as well too. And I think Javonte Williams could definitely do that in this year's class. And if he is taken in the second round, he will then hit on that marker as well, giving him a full 8 for 8 markers that I am looking for, and would be the only running back in this class potentially. I mean, Harris could hit it and Etienne might be able to hit it, but as of right now, he looks like the most surefire running back in this class to go 8 for 8 and join all of those elite running back names that I had already mentioned: Jonathan Taylor, DeAndre Swift, Ezekiel Elliott, Marshawn Lynch. Like that is an amazing class to be a part of, and Javonte Williams has the opportunity to hit that. On top of, as I already mentioned, and Mike Clay mentioned it, he's 21 years old. He's one of the youngest running backs in this class. He did not stay for his senior year like Etienne and Najee Harris did. He's a year younger than Etienne. He's actually 2 years younger than Najee Harris. Like, he has the opportunity to come into the NFL at a super young age and produce for it well into his rookie contract, if not potentially after, unlike a guy like Najee Harris might be able to. Najee Harris, you can get a stud rookie contract from, but after his rookie contract, he'll be like 27 years old. That's like David Johnson level after his rookie contract. Javonte Williams is in the level of a Christian McCaffrey, Joe Mixon, Dalvin Cook type rookie contract, where when his rookie contract is up in 4 years, he'll still be 25, young enough to be re-signed again, and then have at least a couple more years as well too, like what we have already seen from Dalvin Cook. And Joe Mixon's not really all that great, but in that kind of same vein. So all in all, I mean, Javonte Williams has kind of everything that we are looking for in a running back prospect. His most important trait would be situation and landing spot in terms of where he would land in the NFL. And I'm looking at teams in the second round that he could be drafted to and have immediate opportunity and come right in and be a smash pick, and could potentially vault him to the 1.03 in rookie drafts like where I already have him now. But post-draft, he could land in that spot like a lot of the other running backs did as well too, with amazing draft capital and situation. So obviously there are teams that could fit the bill. Most teams that I've mentioned so far, Dolphins, Steelers, and Falcons, I've mentioned them for Najee Harris and Travis Etienne. It's a pretty solid group of teams who kind of just need a running back. And so any running back that gets drafted there would basically have an amazing situation. And I'm not really all that concerned about third, fourth, or fifth round players being drafted those situations. But if a player is drafted in the first 2 rounds to either of those 3 teams, it's going to be a situation that we need to monitor and watch for. So obviously if Javonte gets taken to any of those 3 teams, specifically in my opinion the Steelers, then that would be really what vaults him up to that 1.03. I'll give you one other team though that I think that he could really excel at, and I've kind of mentioned before already too. The Seattle Seahawks could be a fantastic landing spot for Javonte Williams. They pick at the 56th overall, so that's late second round. That would be about where I would expect him to go, maybe a little bit sooner. Maybe they trade up for him, just kind of see how the draft is going out for Seattle. But they only have 4 picks in this 2021 draft class. They only have 4, and that earliest one is the second round. They don't have a first, they don't have a third. It's that second round pick. So if they come out and they say we want Javonte Williams with that second round pick, that's just going to be such a vote of confidence from Pete Carroll and that Seattle Seahawks offense, a team that has talked about wanting to run the ball more, even more than what they've already been doing with Chris Carson and everything. Like, that would be such a vote of confidence for Javonte Williams to come into the Seattle Seahawks system, a player that he has been widely comped to as Marshawn Lynch. He would join Marshawn Lynch as another 8-for-8 marker player if he were to do that. Like, there's just a lot of similarities between him and Marshawn, and just in terms of how they run, the power that they run with, the ferocity that they run with. They have pass catching capability, and Russell Wilson has shown that he will throw the ball to his running backs, throwing it to Chris Carson as well too. Not a high volume type receiving player, but could certainly be the type of guy who gets 250 plus carries, 30 plus, 40 plus receptions, has that opportunity on the goal line, and could really be a stud RB2, if not a solid RB1 in fantasy football for the Seattle Seahawks. So that would be, in my opinion, the absolute best landing spot for Javonte Williams in that second round, outside of, like I said already, Pittsburgh or possibly Atlanta as well too, or Miami if he gets taken like super early in the second round as well, if they decide to go that route. But I would love to see Javonte Williams to the Seattle Seahawks in the second round. So that is going to conclude today's video on Javonte Williams at my 1.03 spot in 2021 rookie drafts. Stay tuned for the rest of this series. We're going to do the 1.04 next. We're going to start hitting out all of these wide receivers in this class. I know you guys have probably been waiting for some of these wide receivers: Jamar Chase, Devontae Smith, Rashad Bateman. A lot of these guys are fantastic players, but where do they rank from my perspective in this 2021 class? We're going to hit on basically a very long string of wide receivers. Kyle Pitts will join in there. Another running back will join in there. We'll finish out this first round rookie draft and potentially hit on some other second round players as well too. So be sure to like this video, subscribe, ring that notifications bell to be notified every time that we drop a new video on the DLF YouTube channel. We're going to start pumping out a lot more content on this platform, and so be sure that you guys are subscribed. Stick around for all these videos. We'll take you guys right into NFL draft and rookie draft season and do a lot more stuff with Dynasty startups as well too. So thank you guys so much for watching, tuning in, and we will catch you guys next time.